girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 7. And I know you're probably like, girl, last episode you was on 4. I know. I went out of the country. I was too busy having a blast on vacation, and I didn't get any videos recorded. And I probably should go back, but this show comes on every week, so I just figured I'd just move forward and catch you up where we at. Okay? So, this episode starts out with Tia talking to her mother on FaceTime, and she's with her daughters. And I think I really enjoy seeing Tia with her family. I don't know if it's because I feel like you can't really control kids in the way that you probably want to, right? Like, I know that her kids are a little older, but kids are always going to be real with you. And I think that's what we get with Tia's daughters, who are 16 and 14. And so they're kind of going back and forth with their mom a little bit, joking. And it's just really nice to see. It makes her seem very down to earth while still being a housewife. Like, we get that portion. And I think with most of these women, some of the best parts of them is them being mothers, right? So when you get to see that relationship, it's kind of nice. So I really like that about Tia. Um, then we see Ashley. She shows up at Monique's house. We ain't seen Monique since season whenever she hit Candace. So it's been a while. I think that was season 6, maybe season 5. But yeah, so it's been a while. Um, Monique is talking about how she's lost 300 pounds because her and Chris Samuels are now divorced. Um, it's interesting because I feel like on the show, on Real Housewives, she put up this facade like, yes, we have issues because of your mom, but like their marriage was kind of perfect. But I heard on the other show she was on, there was no facade. Like, it looked like their relationship was not good. So there's that difference. Um, Unfortunately, she said her bird T'Challa died, which is sad, but I know also that bird was a little crazy. I feel like the bird was always trying to attack somebody. Very cute bird, though. I think it was an African gray parrot, and she got a new one. She talks about how she hasn't been dating and she's kind of been on a journey to be and do better. She didn't realize how much childhood trauma she had. And I appreciate her admitting that, because I feel like there's a lot of us who have trauma, and because we have masked it and kind of lived and moved on, we don't realize how much it affects our everyday. Now, I don't know if that trauma is what caused her to grab Candace. But you never know how it affects you in other ways. And even staying married to someone who you're not supposed to, or being with somebody that you shouldn't be with, right? So there's all these things that kind of play into that. And until you grow from that, sometimes you're stuck in situations that you shouldn't be. So I appreciate her talking about that so candidly, because I think, again, sometimes we watch the show, yes, for entertainment, but we also watch it sometimes to kind of be and do better ourselves. So I appreciate that. Um, then Ashley tells her that about the ladies and that GNA, she's been getting close to Giselle and working with her. And Monique is like, why in the world would you want to do an apparel line with Giselle? And I think that's the question we all had when they first spoke about GNA. We were like, not that Ashley dresses fantastically, but it was like, girl, you already don't dress great. And then you pick the worst dresser to come up with clothing. Like, you playing yourself at this point. Um, Monique talks about how she hasn't really talked to any of the girls besides Ashley and Karen. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, why wasn't she friends with Wendy and whatever, whatever. But I'm like, when Wendy came on the show, she was Candace's friend. You beat up my friend, girl, I'm not talking to you. Like, you might be cool, like I know you, but I'm not talking to you. And I barely even know you. Like, I came on here and I'm just getting to know you, and then you snatch my friend up. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to you. And then you leave. So it kind of, there's no real reason to get to know you, because we wasn't cool before. So why would I be cool with you now when the girl I am friends with does not like you? Yeah. So, Then we go and we see Wendy, and she's in her house. She's doing work on her house. I love that whenever she's in her home, her and Eddie are wearing Happy Eddie apparel because, yes, market your brand, make sure everybody knows what it is, and make sure you're getting sales. It makes the most sense. There's no reason that if you are not in a position to, you should be wearing, showing, talking about Happy Eddie as much as possible. Um, so yeah, then Wendy talks about, oh, it's so sad. She talks about how her biological father did not say happy birthday to her on her birthday. However, he put in their family group chat that the family should say happy birthday to one of their uncles. And she talks about how she hasn't like seen him in over 20 years and that she had a stepdad that her mom remarried when they um came to the US, and that, like, that stepfather passed like maybe a couple years ago. I did think what was interesting, and I was never on the Osu type of time for Wendy and her family and her mama being a witch. I was never on that type of time. But I did think it was interesting that she said they got divorced due to religious differences. Like, explain. Go a little deeper, boo, because your mother's religion was a huge point of contention last season. So for you not to tell us what type of religious differences, but list them, is spooky. It's spooky because, girl, yes. I definitely, my ears perked up, but she didn't go any further in that. So I was like, okay. Um, then we see Ashley and Stacy. I guess Ashley calls Stacy or Stacy calls Ashley, whichever one. And she's talking about the launch. So it's like simultaneous. They're going from Stacy and Ashley talking and Wendy and Eddie in their house. And they're kind of talking about, like, yes, Stacy is copying, but like there's more than enough room for more than one housewife to have a cannabis line and to work with that. And it's true, like anybody can do anything, really. She was like, it's just the same as the candles. Like, I have an idea and someone comes and, they take it. And it's kind of true because, I'm not saying candles is so generic. I guess a lot of people have candles and scents and whatever. But cannabis, I do think Stacey stole the idea. Now, again, anybody can sell cannabis. Obviously, McDonald's isn't the only company that makes burgers, fast food. Like, you know what I mean? So people do that. It's perfectly normal. We should have multiple choices for everything that comes out. But I do think that Happy Eddie made Stacy want to sell the weed. Um and then, well, it's not even like, it's weed gummies, yeah. So, which I think Eddie is actually selling like legit strains and stuff. I feel like, I could be wrong. Then Ashley asked Stacy about Jazzy's wedding and if she's going, and they agree. Her, Wendy, and Ashley are all going to the wedding. Um, Obviously Stacy tells Ashley about the cannabis line and whatever. And then we move over to Angel. And Angel is meeting with her sister to kind of talk about the girls and this, and also so we can kind of get some background on Angel besides just her family, like, kind of see the other parts of her. This conversation was so awkward for me. Like, I didn't like any of it, really. So she meets up with her sister, and she starts telling her sister immediately about how the girls came for her, Giselle. And she was like, Giselle called me a catfish because of this, that, and the third. And she goes, and here comes Wendy cackling about it, because it was a cackling moment. It was funny. It was funny. Here's the thing about life, like, and I know I might be in the minority here because I get it. I get it. I know I might be in the minority. But if the joke is funny enough, even if it's on me, I'm a laugh. I might be angry, but like, and I feel maybe it wasn't funny to her because she knows she a she a whole lie. But like, saying I'm looking at you, you don't look like that is so funny. And I think it's more funny to us because production put both pictures, like put the picture, did the little split screen. But like, yeah, so she goes and she's mad that Wendy's laughing and she calls her a-hole lips. And then she talks about her Forrest Whitaker eye. Now, Forrest Whitaker eye is a little funny. I'll give her that. It's a little funny. A-hole lips, I was like, no, didn't really. That one didn't hit for me. That one was a little weird. But the reason why I didn't like it was because it felt like you're more mad at the person who laughed than the person who actually made the comments. Because her sister was like, I know Giselle. I've seen her around town. Everybody knows she uses soft focus on her neck. That's all you gonna say about the person who actually called you a catfish? The person who made the comment, the person who disrespected you, you just gonna talk about, and you didn't even really say it. Your sister said it and you co-signed. But the person who laughed, you're calling her a-hole lips and Forrest Whitaker eye? Sis. And it gives that dynamic. And I know a lot of people have been talking about colorism. Now, colorism has been an issue on this show. And I am not saying that Angel can't be colorist. She could be. I don't know. But that commentary and that conversation didn't really give that vibe to me. Actually, I felt it was more so like her girl Kay doesn't like Wendy right now. So let me come for her because Kay likes Giselle. And I don't want to ruin anything with Giselle because I feel like Giselle is like the top dog here. So I'm going to try and talk about her, but go easy. So it's something that could be rectified versus saying whatever I want about Wendy because I don't think Wendy holds such a high spot. And I think it was more about that dynamic than color. But it could be about color. So I don't want to write it off, right? We might find out Angel is colorist. Like, hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So it could be a thing. I don't know that. And this is one instance because I've also earlier in the season we've seen Angel defend Wendy, right? So I don't want to immediately say that's what it is. But sis, tread lightly because you teetering on colorism. So yes. Um, and her sister's name is Ingrid, and she's 12 years older, I think she said, or I don't know, honestly. I was more so focused on the shade than anything else. Um, Now Tia's back at home with her kids. And her son, and okay, I can understand being the only boy and you're like the youngest or you have a twin. So I can see how that's a little maybe hard for you as a little boy because you probably get the shortest end of the stick around the house in relation to your siblings, right? Um, but that little boy, he got a little attitude. But again, watching her interact with her kids humanizes Tia to me. I mean, I never thought she wasn't human or something, but it does give her more depth as a housewife. The little other twin, so sweet, so cute, doing her little homework. Love her. I think all her family is great. So it's not just a little girl, but I'm just saying, like, the little boy. Someone said on Twitter, it's nice to see Nathaniel didn't leave. And that was jokes because when he said he had to move out of that house because they wanted him to clean, little boy, you are dramatic. And where did you get this drama from? And that makes me think that Tia is probably a lot more dramatic than we have yet to see. So I'm kind of curious about that and what's to come with her because I'm like, maybe the dad is dramatic too. Like someone in that family that boy is taking cues after. Um, we just don't know who. I mean, shoot, it could be his siblings too, but um, someone's a little more dramatic than we are seeing so far. And then they talk about how one of her daughters had a party and like someone who got an uninvited leaked the address, so a bunch of people showed up and then the daughter had to call the police. And it's so funny because she was like, and you were here, and the husband's like, yeah, I was here. And it's like, and the daughter's like, but I had to call the police and da da da. That story was funny to me. Like I could actually watch Tia's family. I can watch a show about them. They are entertaining. They are. I mean, they are entertaining. The like I said, teenagers, kids, you're gonna have a hard time coaching them to do stuff. I'm not saying they won't do stuff, but it's a little bit harder. So I definitely like that dynamic. I think they're funny. The situation sounded messy, and I loved it. um, and then we see Kay and Greg, and Greg had a new haircut. I don't know if it was a camera angle or I can't tell you exactly, but that haircut looked a mess. And I'm like, is the lineup not straight? Is his forehead just big? Like, I don't know what it was, but it looked strange. And I'm not saying that Greg is like fine shit, but it's like, damn, this haircut is not doing anything for you. Um, and yeah, now we find out that Greg has 3 kids, which is funny because someone was like, we found out last season. Unfortunately, we're all focused on Kay's beauty, that we didn't really care about what was going on with Greg. What he had, kids, no kids, XY. No, I did not care. So now that we're actually listening and hearing what he got going on, I want to know why Kay is with him, truthfully, because it doesn't sound like he's that great for her. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going on or how he treats her, but on the treatment that we've seen, it doesn't look like things are too like great. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, girl, why are you with him? He got 3 kids. He's not showing you love in the way that you want him to. I mean, you got 2 wags next to you. Maybe you don't get along with one of them, but they could probably hook you up with someone. Just saying. You ain't got to stay with Greg if you don't want to. And he ain't acting right. You can leave. Your face card, incredible. Crazy. Lethal. You can leave. Someone. Sorry, Greg. Um, then Wendy meets with Stacy for lunch. Oh my God, I love Wendy's confessional look. That little updo with the floral dress. I don't know if it's a floral dress or floral top, but it is cute. I likes it. Um, and they're talking, and they're talking about the brand and whatever. And Stacy tells Wendy that the line is called Shayo, which is, and then Wendy's like, a Nigerian word? And she was like, oh, girl, you're my sister. And da da. Wendy breaks that fourth wall and looks dead at the camera like, because sis, Stacy, you're hilarious. What are you talking about? You took a 23andMe, and that's the reason why you now have a kindred with Nigeria. But I think the problem I have is she's like, oh, Shayo means joy, excitement or happiness or whatever. And it's really just Happy Eddie, Happy Stacy. Like, it's the same thing. You really are doing exactly down to the naming. They just did English. You're doing Yoruba. It's weird. It's giving weird to go and then copy the one Nigerian and then name your brand something Nigerian like Stacy. Bruh. And Wendy's like, it's giving single black female. Yes, it's weird. Like, she gonna unzip you and wear you as a skin suit in a second, Wendy. Because what? That's weird to me. Now, a lot of people, I'm not saying she can't sell cannabis or weed gummies or whatever. She could do whatever she wants. But Shayo, Stacy, like, honestly, yeah, I would have been upset. I know probably I shouldn't be. It's not that big of a deal, but I would have been upset because it's weird to me. I don't like that. Um, but then the 3, Ashley, Wendy, and Jazz, not Jazzy, it's Jazzy's wedding. Ashley, Wendy, and Stacy, we see them go to Jazzy's wedding. Beautiful wedding. Beautiful. Everything about that wedding looks bomb. Um, it looks really, really nice. But they can't stay long. They can only stay for a little bit because Ashley has her little drag. thing for Pride. Like she has a float, I guess, and so all the ladies are supposed to be at the float, so they can only stay at the wedding for a little bit before they got to fly back. Because I don't even know where the wedding was, to be honest. I'm sure they said, but I don't remember. Beautiful wedding though. Jazzy looked amazing. Darius looked like Darius. And that's not a bad thing. That's just he looked like who I remembered he was. Um but yeah, she definitely looked beautiful. Her dress was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. The wedding looked beautiful. So the girls went and it was just a quick glimpse of the kiss, but she took a shot with them or whatever, and then they was back in DC for Pride. And so they get to Ashley's event. Ashley gives them all these shirts with like names on it. The name she gave Giselle was weird. I didn't even get it. I still don't get it. Um, all the other names I think were okay. Um, Honestly, sometimes when Ashley talks, I just be like, "Girl, what?" And that's how I felt when she was giving out their names. I'm like, "Girl, what?" But yeah, so then she made them all shirts and it was cute. And then Grace came, Giselle's daughter. I think obviously she was in town. Maybe it's summer now at this point, I think, so that's why she was there. Um, and It was funny. One thing that Wendy said that actually cracked me up. She was like, "Oh, we got to leave this wedding early." This is when they were leaving the wedding. She's like, "We got to leave this wedding early because Ashley's going to turn into a man at the stroke of midnight." I'm so easily amused because I cackled. I truly, truly cackled at that. I don't know why that really took me out, but it was funny. Um, but yeah, so while they were at the event, everybody showed up, and then here comes Monique. She pops up. And when she gets there, Giselle like elbows or taps Cal. I don't know if she's trying to be messy or what, but Cal immediately, probably the first person to see Monique and give her a hug. So I don't know what that was, but Cal immediately was like, "Oh, hey, girl." So I don't know if he's friends with Monique or what, or outside of Giselle, or I don't know. Um, But yeah, he gave her a hug and everybody greets her. And even Giselle turns around and then gives her a hug. And it's like, cool. And even Wendy says hello, which we find like, because we heard earlier that even Wendy hasn't kept in contact with her or talked to her or whatever. And the only person that has is Ashley and Karen. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay, trying to see and listen and see what happens. But they're all talking in a circle and they're kind of greeting everybody. And it's funny because I was like, oh, Grace is there. And I was like, she probably gonna ride for her mama. But I was like, probably not, because those kids also didn't want their mom to be with their dad because of what he did and who he was. So it actually wasn't really, I don't think maybe they're mad at her for embarrassing their mom, but not so much for the message. Um, or maybe they're mad that she called their dad Pastor Holy Whore. Oh, wow. That was such a good diss. Ooh, good times. But yeah, because Grace does hug and say hello to her. So I was like, okay, it seems like bygones are bygones. But then all of a sudden, like they're all standing there, and Kay decides she wants to be a little messy boots. And she's like, oh, you don't know Stacy? I thought Stacy said she knew you, right? Don't you know everybody here? You don't know Stacy? And da 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 da. And basically she trying to imply and say something about Chris, but everybody's just kind of looking confused, and that's how the episode ends. And I'm not quite sure that messiness should be introduced by Kay. Like, I just don't feel like Kay is the person who should be bringing that messiness, because you're just meeting Monique for the first time. And this is your second season with Stacy. You don't really know her that well. That should have been something that Ashley, now I don't like Ashley being messy, but she's the true middle person in that to make that messy situation make sense. So I just kind of feel like Kay was trying to overstep a messy level, like step into a messy level in which she didn't really need to be. Like it was kind of weird for me. But I thought the episode was good. I think everything went well. I think they introduced Monique well. I don't think if they're introducing Monique back again to be messy towards Stacy, I I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know, because I'm kind of like, Stacy isn't even with Chris. Like, even if they went on a date or whatever, they're not together now. She's getting back with her husband. Monique is not with Chris. So I'm like, I hope that's not supposed to be the whole entirety around Monique, because it's kind of like, I don't get it. Like, if they're introducing her to come back, then it's like, okay, fine. But if you're introducing her for this specific plot line, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if that needs to be a thing. I don't like it. Also, I will say I like that Grace came out with them. And the reason why I'm saying that, which some might not agree with, is I feel like some of these other children in other series have kind of gotten into the show in different ways and been seen more, and also in connection with the women. So I kind of think it's kind of cool that Grace is now old enough to come out and do stuff. And, I'm like, hey, love that. At least we get to see them outside of just in their home, you know? So I like that. I thought, like I said, the episode went well. What do you guys think about Stacy and the Shio thing? Like, I'm not saying she can't do it, but on any level, does that piss y'all off? Like, it pisses me off. I don't know. I think maybe I'm alone. I hope I'm not alone, but it does. On some level, it pisses me off. Um, and then also, how do you feel about Kay being the messy one here, and trying to be that bridge to messiness between um Monique and Stacy? Oh, and how do you feel about Angel and her commentary on Wendy when Giselle was the messy one? Like, I just feel like there was so much going on, and I'm just like, okay, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Tell me what you guys are feeling about this season. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share my video so everybody can see it and hear my commentary. And I will see you guys next time. No more vacation, so I'll be on time. Bye.